Oh, Lord, yeah. What is up, my people? Welcome to Monday. It is good to see you. It is good to be seen by you. I am the one, the only, the Dungeon Delver, and it is December 12th. It's a Monday, but folks, we can still have fun. Am I right? Or am I right? Thank you all for being here. I'm glad you're here. Just hanging out. We have some Christmas Advent calendar. We have a bit of sad news, though. Those of you, of course, who grew up playing classic Dungeons and Dragons, your intravenous feed month to month when TSR was not putting out a book, a module, something you could go and grab, particularly through the 80s and 90s, of course, was Dragon Magazine. And Dragon Magazine was edited and worked on by many, but not the least of which was one Mr. Kim Mohan, and we have it from our friend Alan Hammock that Kim has passed away. I think we all enjoyed his work in various RPG products. He worked on this very book that we're going to talk about tonight, Unearthed Arcana, and it is a shame. It is a shame. So many of these legends, they're getting on. All right. And the innings ends the same for all of us. But when it starts to hit the creators of the things that made our childhoods and adolescence and teen years and even to this day awesome, it's really catches you where you hurt. So he will be remembered well. Kim was the editor of Dragon Magazine, as I said, for many years. He worked on just a host of TSR products. I mean, Unearthed Arcana. He did editing in, I believe, Oriental. You know what? I'm not going to stumble around here wondering this. Let's just pull up my notes here. He worked on the Wilderness Survival Guide, Cyborg Commando for Gary, of course. The Ghostbusters RPG, Tobin's Spirit Guide was his. Lots of fun. He was a novelist, wrote Four from Cormyr, Forgotten Realms Adventures, The Ultimate Prize, and Chase into Space, which were both Cyborg Commando novels. Planet in Peril was another one. Edited Dragon, amazing stories, more amazing stories. Sword and Fist, a fighter's guide to our guidebook to fighters and monks for Wizards of the Coast, and the Psionics Handbook. So we will miss him. We will miss his contributions. And the best thing that we can do is roll some dice and say, fight on. And keep on gaming and remembering his contributions to the hobby that we love so much. So that is a shame. That is a shame. With that said, we have some happy things too. We have guess what? Our next day of the Dice Advent Calendar. That's happening right now. And I hope you guys have seen the videos. Just like I said I would, on the weekends, I've made videos rather than saving it up till Monday. So every day of Dice Advent, we have a new one. As I said, I've trimmed the little flaps open for the Advent calendar, but I haven't looked. I don't know what's under here just yet. So let's see. Let's go over here and let's go to here. And you guys can see it. So we are on day 12. You can see it there. That's day 12, completely washing out my poor little camera. And what is behind day 12? It's already halfway until Christmas. Roll for excitement. Well, I think I will roll for excitement. And our dice is a D4. It is this lovely scarlet D4. And it's got a very cool, sort of grimy, almost cyberpunky look to it. You know, it's very gritty, very street. So let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. I love that, Todd. I love that. It's they just got promoted to the big table with Gary. All right. Let's take a look here. Nice and average, we got a 2. And this, of course, this Advent calendar was given to me by my lovely wife, and it is made by Dragao Gaming. They might have a few more left if you're interested. It's a pretty good deal. I think it's like $28 for 24 dice and a little challenge coin or something like that that's in here. I guess we'll find that when we find it. But a bunch of very cool dice and a full set of Christmas themed dice. So there have been some great dice in this box, Tommy. You're absolutely right. And Dragao did send us a whole bunch of swag that I like a lot. That was a very sponsored move from them. I have these cool metal dice. These are anodized steel dice. I have some liquid filled acrylic dice over there that are like little snow globes, and some stickers and some other fun stuff. So wonderful, wonderful stuff from Dragao, and we like their Advent calendar here on the show, and I hope you guys do too. So tonight, of course, we are going to continue our deep dive into Unearthed Arcana. We're going to look at the demi-human deities, and we're going to approach this just as we did the demi-human deities in Deities and Demigods. We're going to look at the stat blocks, not pinpoint every decimal and comma, but, you know, we'll kind of talk about that, and then we'll read up on them, because this is an expansion. This is an expansion of the demi-human deities that are listed in Deities and Demigods. Now, I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I think these are either Ed Greenwood or Roger Moore, not the James Bond actor. But these are both or one of their creations. We'll have to look. But yeah, we'll look at who they are and what they do and how you can incorporate them in your game. Again, we're into what I consider the very good part of Unearthed Arcana, the stuff for the dungeon master. We've talked about alternate dice systems, not alternate dice systems, but alternate dicing systems for creating characters. And it really doesn't create incredibly over-the-top characters. I think out of that sample, we got a 17 and a couple of 15s, which is, it's weighted a little bit on the heavy side. But then we also got like 8s. There was like an 8 in there, or a 6 or something. Kim Mohan passed away. So yeah, there's some really decent stuff. I'm not super crazy about the magic, the NPC magic user spell casting costs. Like, I wish Gary had broke it down to a discrete list like he did with the cleric list. I saw one somewhere. It was actually the guys over at Kenzer and Co. in their Hackmaster's Guide, which of course looks like the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's that Mad Magazine approach that they did to D&D back in the early 2000s due to a kerfuffle they had with Wizards' unauthorized reprinting of their comic strips in the Dragon Magazine archive CD. That bad boy right there. But they put a discrete spellcaster cost for magic users list there, which was okay, I guess. But again, I would have I would have greatly preferred if Gary had penned one. But as we know from our study of this work and its history, Gary was in haste. So we're going to be reading that tonight. Anything we don't finish up, we'll finish tomorrow night, and then we'll play First Edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons from 9 to 11. You can watch a live stream of that, and I hope you'll join us but Wednesday evening, I will be stepping into the passenger seat. Kyle will be driving while I ride shotgun, and we play some classic Traveler, which I think, now I don't want to spoil anything, but I think we're just on the verge of wrapping up this season of Traveler. And then Thursday, kids, have I got a surprise for you? Have I got a surprise for you? I don't have a necktie on, so the effect of this is completely lost. But anyway, Thursday, friend of the show and all-around swell guy, Dungeons & Dragons pioneer Mr. Tracy Lesh will be in the house. That's right. The one, the only Tracy Lesh. Tracy, I created the Mind Flayer. Lesh will be here. Not here, and he'll point to, he's not going to sit on my lap. He'll be here. He'll be on the, and you can talk to him. So if you have questions about early D&D history and you've never had a chance to ask them of any of these TSR vets that you think you might want to know, be here and we'll talk to him. Tommy asks where I got this great t-shirt. Okay, so this t-shirt is completely unauthorized by anybody in the Gygax family, to the best of my knowledge. That has never stopped bootleggers. How many here ever went to a rock festival when you were kids? Okay. Walking all over the parking lots, walking up and down the sidewalks in front of the place, bootleg t-shirt salespeople. All right. This is the same thing, except this was a flash sale for like 48 hours on Facebook. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a shot. And so I got this, but I don't know that it is anywhere else. I have role-playing mastery. It's put me to sleep a couple of times. I've got to try and finish that one day. So, but anyway, that is where this t-shirt comes from. So yeah, Tracy will be here on Thursday. And look, we're just open up, okay? I'm going to have a couple of cold snacks and we're just going to put our feet up and Tracy and I are going to talk. We're going to ramble. He's going to have stuff to show you guys. And let me tell you something, as you're going to find out, Tracy's no stranger to broadcast media. All right. I could probably curl up around the bottom of the table here and take a nap, and he could do the show, which you guys might probably prefer, but it's not going to happen that way. But so that's Thursday. Friday, we'll see. We'll just see what we're going to do Friday, and then on Friday at 9:00. We'll jump in to some classic Game World. Now, next week is where things get a little uncertain because this Santa Claus has got to hop in his sleigh and zoom around and do some things. But for the ensuing 2 weeks, if I'm not going to stream, I will show you guys, I will share with you guys some of my early interview videos that I did that are tucked away way deep down in the bowels of Facebook. And the first one we're going to do, I don't know what night it's going to be yet, but I'll let you guys know. The first one we're going to do is an interview with the incomparable artist, Darlene. Yeah, that Darlene. Darlene, I have that beautiful Rubenesque succubus in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Darlene, I have the unicorn in the front of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Darlene, the paladin in Rogue's Gallery is by me. Darlene, I got to interview her, and she was either the first or second interview I ever did. So she you will get to see and hear that interview in all of its crusty 720p glory. So you guys will hopefully get to enjoy that. So that is what will happen. Did I ever index the How to Play series? I should. You know what? I will try and get that done before the end of the year. All right. Because some good, cool stuff's coming in 2023. We're going to have an outro with music by Bob Antone, his fantastic song that he gifted to the show, by the way. It's my song now. It's called Owl Bear. We'll have a good clip of it for outro credits. By the way, the Guac is on 2023 Great Underground Online Gaming Convention 2 is happening, and it's happening in June. So block off the entire month because I will pick a weekend in June, probably around mid-month, and we will have the Guac. I will run some Dungeon if people want to play Dungeon. I don't run Dungeon, but I will run, which does mean actually running Hero Quest, probably some AD&D. So get geared up, guys. Get ready, get excited, get hyped. I know online cons are a bit pardon me. I know online conventions, they're a bit passé. However, Mobius, I see what you said. That is the next. I can't do a full bore convention at a location. If I get 10,000 subs on this channel, I'll do it in real life convention. It won't be free, which the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention is free. But if I do a Guac not online, but in real life, it'll be like a normal convention. But I'll do that if and only if I get 10,000 subs on the channel. So Mobius brings up an important question. I have my General Mattis knife hand. Mobius brings up an important question. Today is the last day to get me an order for the Owl Bears and or War Duke. The 3-pose War Duke set is $30. The 3 different Owl Bear sets is $45. Those will be 3D printed, packaged up, and sent to you. So if you have those, drop me an email, bsylvie@gmail.com. If you have those, if you want to reserve those, bsylvie@gmail.com. Put War Duke order, Owl Bear order, or War Duke and Owl Bear in the subject. in the body. List the number of sets you want of each and your physical mailing address. It's not going to be called BillCon. I'm still going to use Guac because I've got all the signage. Great Underground Offline Gaming Convention. I would say Great Underground In-Person Gaming Convention, but that would be GWIPIC, and it just doesn't roll off the tongue. So, put that on your calendars. I'll have a firm date probably by the first of the year, and we'll do it, and we'll have a lot of fun. I'm looking for game masters. Don't just show up expecting me to do all the gaming, which I know you won't, but so there you go. So that's all the good stuff that's coming. We got, it's not BillCon. Anyway, see, because BillCon sounds like bilk on, like I'm going to rip people off. Guac at least sounds like you're getting a tasty snack that you would eat with chips and dip. Anyhow, let's get on to Unearthed Arcana. So we got to go over here and we got to do this because we're going to talk about non-human deities, inhumane deities. I got to open, let's see. Inhumane deities. Is Tucker going to have a bedazzle booth there? That would be up to him. If he came down here and said, I'm going to sell bedazzled flip-flops, I'd be, knock yourself out, dude. It's not BillCon. There's no vote. I'm an oligarch. I'm one person. I'm doing it myself. All right. So anyway, let's take a look then. Present, share screen. And let's add to stream and let's take a look. The gods of the dwarves. One of the most powerful of all the non-human pantheons is that of the dwarven fold, and it well reflects their nature and beliefs, as the human pantheons reflect that of their human worshippers. In describing the dwarven pantheon, several distinct differences are apparent between it and usual human religions. All of the greater dwarven gods are at least twice as large as normal dwarves, ranging up to Moradin's 20-foot height. Though some human reviewers have said this is an indicator of an inferiority complex dwarves have about their height, this claim is patently ridiculous. More likely, it reflects the dwarves' own sense of self-importance, perhaps a little exaggerated from the human viewpoint. Dwarves refuse to see themselves as a minor race, and indeed there is much to support the view that the dwarves are one of the most powerful of all races, perhaps second only to humanity. Lesser dwarven gods are generally shorter than the greater gods. Demigods are roughly normal dwarven height, and no dwarven deity is taller than Moradin, the Soul Forger. Another interesting aspect of dwarven religion is that the holy symbols are invariably not living objects, tools, weapons, mountains, minerals, and so forth. This derives in large part from some of the teachings of Moradin, who ruled that the dwarves must hold no other race above them. Having an animal as a symbol would then be a way of saying that the animal was better than dwarves. Likewise, Moradin said that the dwarves should not ever worship each other, so no dwarf or part of one is used as a holy symbol. Dwarves should take pride in their accomplishments and respect the earth from which they originally came. Thus, tools, weapons, and similar items were developed and used as a religious symbol. 5 of the most commonly accepted dwarven deities are described in this text. A description of Moradin, invariably the ruler of all dwarven pantheons, though he may be known by several different names, is found in the Legends and Lore book, nay, Deities and Demigods. There are many dwarven gods and demigods, some of which may be connected with certain planes or areas all their own. Every clan of dwarves has a pantheon that will vary from every other clan's pantheon, leaving dungeon masters quite free to develop their own pantheons and not worry about anyone else. Did you hear that, boys and girls? Don't worry about anyone else's panths. Some final notes about dwarven gods in general. All dwarven gods possess dual charismas, one applying to dwarves and the other their dwarven deities, and the other to everyone else. Just as the dwarves hold themselves as a race apart, so do the dwarven deities generally keep themselves aloof from the workings and dealings of other pantheons, with a few exceptions, as will be seen. Most of the lesser deities and demigods of the dwarves are connected with the spheres of fighting and warfare, guardianship, the earth, metals, craftsmanship, volcanoes and earthquakes, fire and lava, the protection of the dead, medicine and strength. There are very few or no deities known in dwarven pantheons governing the sea, the air, and atmospheric phenomena, rain, clouds, stars, etc., plant life and forests, comedy, animals, and chaos. Dwarves on rare occasions worship deities from other pantheons, in particular Goemni of the Celtic mythos and Hephaestus of the Greek, draw much favorable attention from dwarves because they represent the powers of smith work and the earth. Is it the Baldur's Gate voice? It's not what I'm trying for. Of course, if you guys want to hear this read in Morris the Nerd's voice, you know how that works. Super chat of more than $3. Clangadan Silverbeard, Father of Battle. He's a greater god, 375 hit points, armor class -4. He is a 12th level druid, a 17th level ranger, a 10th level magic user, and a 6th level bard. Bald and silver-bearded, Clangadan lives in a vast mountain fortress manned by the souls of the finest dwarven warriors. He taught the dwarves many special methods of combating giant types and passed his knowledge and skills on to the gnomish gods as well. In the many tales and legends about his deeds, the dwarves portray Clangadan as a fierce and resolute warrior who never backs down from danger and who refuses to surrender even when all seems lost, many times winning a victory only by the barest of margins. Clangadan's most hated enemies are Grolantor, the hill giant god, and the followers of that deity. Giant-type creatures attack Clangadan at a -4 penalty to hit, the same as for mortal dwarves. In the heat of battle, Clangadan is fond of singing with the intent of both unnerving his opponents and increasing his followers' morale. Clangadan can wield a mithril battle axe +4 in each hand. He can throw these special axes with either hand up to 100 yards, and both will do damage to whatever they hit, as if he had struck the target by hand, with all appropriate bonuses to hit and damage. His armor is steel chainmail +5. Although Clangadan has magical spell ability, he will usually only use such powers to indirectly affect the course of events. Not unless his existence on the prime material plane is at stake will Clangadan resort to the use of magical spells or spell devices in a close combat situation. Vergadane, god of wealth and luck. He's a greater god with 345 hit points. He is neutral. His worshipper's alignment is neutral. Symbol, the gold piece. Cleric Druid, 12th level Druid. Fighter, 12th level Ranger. Thief Assassin, 18th level Thief. He is a 15th level bard, the patron god of dwarven merchants and most non-evil dwarven thieves is the scheming Vergadane. He is said to be a great poet as well, and may dispense clues to his worshippers on the location of great treasures. These clues are usually hidden in a verse or rhyme of some sort. His bard-like talents also give him the ability to carefully evaluate treasures as to the true nature of their worth. Remember, all this narration can be yours as Morris the Nerd for a mere $3 super. A $3 super. Vergadane appears to be a huge dwarf wearing brown and yellow clothing. Underneath his suit is a set of golden mail +5, and he wears a necklace that allows him to change his height at will between 1 foot and 15 feet. At his side is a sword +4 that detects all treasures within 2 inches of his person whenever the hilt is grasped. And that's 2 scale inches, you jokers. You know that's 20 feet or 20 yards. Most of Vergadane's adventures concern the elaborate con games he has played on human, demi-human, humanoid, and giant victims in order to win their every belonging of any worth. He is not above using any sort of trick to accomplish his ends, and he is eternally suspicious of potential adversaries who might try to trick him in return. Followers of Vergadane are usually seen as suspicious characters. As a result, few dwarves will willingly admit that he is their deity. If a follower of this god denies to others that he is Vergadane, is that person's true deity, the god will not be offended so long as the proper sacrifices are made. God, can I sit down and can I read the book now already, please, Bill? Of course, Morris. Dumathoin. He's a greater god, a greater dwarven god. He has 366 hit points. He can summon elementals, like he can just like make rock elementals just like appear, just whoosh. You know, he doesn't even have to fight you. That's how awesome he is. His symbol's a gem inside a mountain. He's like Crom. That's right. He's like Crom from Conan. You know what though? You know what he did. If you come to fight him and you like somehow manage to get past his elementals, he's a 15th level cleric and a 14th level druid, a 16th level fighter. He's a magic user, illusionist, and he's a 12th level thief. You can't beat him. Dumathon is said to hide the secrets of the earth until they are ready to be uncovered by the diligent and the deserving. He is the protector of the mountain dwarves, the keeper of all metals. He lays veins of iron, copper, gold, silver, and mithril. Where? Sorry. Sorry, Mobius. You just got outbid by the US dollar. Where he feels they will do the most benefit, instead keeping his wisdom to himself, though he may send subtle clues to keen observers on the nature of the world. If you guys want Morris back, you gotta outbid Ricky. He's at 6. When Moradin named him protector of the mountain dwarves, Dumathoin created a paradise for the mountain dwarves to enjoy. He was angered at first when the dwarves started to destroy the mountains he had provided for them, but his anger turned to pleasure, as it often does. When he saw the finely crafted metals the dwarves had produced from the ore they had mined. His enemies are those, dwarven or otherwise, who plunder the earth's riches and take them away for unfair or selfish purposes. He does not object to tunneling, mining, or the keeping of treasures underground, however. Miners see him as their patron and often carry a small diamond or gemstone in their pockets of 10 gold piece value to attract the favor of the god. Dumathoin appears to be a gigantic dwarven figure with hair and beard of gray stone, earth-brown skin, and eyes of silver fire. God, could you guys stop it so I could finish, please? He owns a great two-headed matlock of +5 of solidified magma. That's a show my grandma watches. I have to go over there in the afternoons. Once per day, he may summon 3 to 18 earth elementals. He may summon 3 to 18 earth elementals, 16 hit dice each, guys, at will instantly. They will fight for him to the death. Dumathoin may also use all metal, earth, or stone-related magic user spells at the 30th level of ability, but cannot use any other magic user spells. My buddy Eric has a magic user that could like adventure with Dumathoin. He's that badass. Oh, can I say ass on TV? Oh wow, that's great. Unlike most other dwarven deities, Dumathoin maintains friendly relations with non-dwarven deities, though only a few. One of his closest allies is Hephaestus, whom he supplies with adamantine ore. Other gods of metalcraft and the earth sometimes do business with Dumathoin and his representatives for metals and ores as well. For these reasons, clerics of this god are sometimes involved in business ventures, in the selling of metals and similar materials. Now let us continue. I'm trying not to do that, to pitch that voice like the there's a guy who reads D&D horror stories. And it's fun and all, but I don't want to copy his voice. Abathor, great master of greed, greater god, 330 hit points, neutral evil, worshipper's alignment evil, symbol jeweled dagger plane, Hades, 14th level fighter, 11th level illusionist, 20th level thief, 15th level assassin. At times, Abathor has been the ally of the other dwarven gods, but his treachery and lust for treasure make him a dangerous associate. He will never help any non-dwarven deity or creature. He cannot be trusted to do anything but evil unless it suits his own purpose to give assistance. Abathor was not always as devoted to evil as he is now. Originally, his sphere of influence concerned the appreciation of valuable gems and metals, not necessarily at the expense of others. He became embittered when Moradin appointed Dumathoin the protector of the mountain dwarves instead of him, and from that day forward has become ever more devious and self-serving in his endeavors in a continual effort to wreak revenge on the other gods by establishing greed, especially evil greed, as the driving force in dwarves' lives. His home caverns are said to be made of purest gold, which may be a fact or be a legend born of his reputation for hoarding that which is precious. Abathor's greed manifests itself frequently in his actions. Should he set eyes upon any magical item or on treasure worth more than 1,000 gold piece, he will attempt to steal it outright or slay the owner and then take it. 50% chance of either specific occurrence. Abathor wears leather armors and furs made from the skins of beings and creatures who have opposed him in the past. He uses a dagger +5 with a diamond blade and jewels set in the hilt. The dagger does a base of 2 to 24 points of damage and can detect the presence of precious metals, type and amount, in a 20-foot or 20-yard radius. Anyone but Abathor who grasps this weapon will suffer the loss of 1 experience level at once and will lose another level in each round the dagger continues to be held. Abathor also owns a shield that casts 1 cause blindness spell per round, save at -6 at any target, one at a time, within a 3-inch range. Abathor maintains an uneasy truce with Vergadane, with whom he sometimes roams the prime-material plane in search of more treasure. If frustrated when attempting to steal an item, Abathor will try to destroy the item, so as not to be tortured by the memory of his failure. That was exciting. You guys just... So let's see, I gotta get... For 15, I want Walken. For all of this in Chris... Oh, you got... You gotta bid more than that for the rest of this is Christopher Walken. Jack Black trying to sound like the movie trailer. Thank you. And thank you all for the super chats. That's lovely. I really do appreciate it. All right. Somebody mentioned mock up the chat. I'm going to do this once. This is not going to sound right, guys, but I'm going to try it. I think I just got the edge of it. She can sing or she can scream, but she still pissed me off. He goes like a full octave higher and yet still does this gurgly, growly voice. If I attempted to do it, I think you guys would see blood fly out of my mouth. No, you haven't gotten 15. Buronar, mother of safety, truth, and home. Greater goddess, 370 hit points. Lawful good. Worshipper's symbol, 2 silver rings. 15th level cleric, 12th level druid, 14th level paladin, 16th level magic user. The greatest of all dwarven goddesses is usually held to be Buronar, who lives with Moradin in the 7 heavens at the soul forge beneath the mountains. Buronar is seen as the patroness of marriage and love, but not necessarily romance. Her name is often invoked in small home rituals for protection from thieves and duplicity, but Buronar is not a passive homebody. Her efforts to preserve and protect dwarven culture and civilization have spanned many universes, and dwarves of both sexes revere her name. Buronar appears to be a huge dwarf wearing +5 chainmail of bright silver. Her brown beard is braided into 4 rows. If a braid is cut off, it will regrow in a single day, and at the end of the day, the lock of hair which was cut off will turn to gold, worth 10,000 to 40,000 gold pieces. She sometimes gives locks of her hair to dwarven communities that are exceptionally poor or hard-pressed and otherwise unable to get on their feet economically. This is an extremely rare occurrence, of course, and it must be invoked by a lawful good dwarven cleric of the highest level in the colony. If this gold or any part of it is used for other than good purposes, it will disappear. Buronar wields a mace +4 of gold and steel that will slay evil thieves and all assassins on contact, save versus death magic at -4. She wears 2 silver rings of great power. One prevents anyone from knowingly telling a falsehood within 10 inches of her. The other prevents the use of all thieving abilities by any mortals within the same area unless they make a save versus spell at -2 in every round an attempt is made to use the skill. Dwarves have a custom of exchanging rings with those for whom they feel exceptional mutual trust and love. This independently parallels a human custom used in marriage rituals. This dwarven ceremony is not lightly taken. It is almost never undertaken with a non-dwarf except in the most unusual of circumstances. Both participants must be lawful good. Buronar is said to have inspired this practice, and several variations of it exist around the dwarven realms. If a lawful good dwarven fighter appeals to Buronar for aid for a particular purpose and makes an appropriately large sacrifice, there's a 5% chance she will bestow upon the individual the powers of a paladin of equal levels for 3 to 6 days. Only dwarves of exceptionally pure heart will be considered for this honor, and it may be granted only once every 10 years to any individual. Number one takeaway, dwarven women have beards. Sure. So I'm about to launch into the elves. If anybody wants to hear the elves and Morris the Nerd's voice, well, you gotta, what was our last super? Our last super. You gotta hit me with 12. 12 for the elves and Morris the Nerd. Only got a couple more minutes. Not a couple. We only got like 15 or 20 more minutes. So if you want the elves as Morris the Nerd, gotta throw some cash down. I'm just gold bricking to let my voice rest. Ricky can't. I think you can't buy anymore. Can't bug anymore. So it will. You'll hear the rest of it as Morris the Nerd. If anybody bids $12 or more, because Ricky can't outbid you tonight. Ricky can't outbid you tonight. All right, I guess you guys just want this in my. Let's see. What can I do for the elves? What can I do for the elves? I don't know. I think I may just go for me as the elves. The elven pantheon is primarily located on the plains of Olympus in an area known as Arvandor, the High Forest. Here dwell a large number of elven deities who collectively refer to themselves as the Seldarine, which roughly translate as the Fellowship of Brothers and Sisters of the Wood. The title also implies a wide diversity in capabilities and areas of interest linked together by a desire for cooperation. Though many of the beings' areas of influence overlap to some degree, there is no conflict between them. Of all the Seldarine, only Corellon Lantharion is a greater god. $15 for the king? Which king is that? The Seldarine, almost without exception, are chaotic, neutral, and or good in temperament. None are evil, and a very few, 2 or 3 at the most, are lawful. They act for the most part independently of one another, but are drawn together by love, curiosity, friendship to combine their strengths to accomplish a task or by outside threats. Corellon Lantharion, the most powerful of them, reinforces this freedom of action and compels none of them to perform any task. Whoops, I went up too high. Come on. Oh, we really went up. Sorry, guys. Instead, they seem to sense when something needs doing, and automatically a few of them, if more than one is needed, get together and do it. There are a number of interesting similarities among the elven deities and their religions. All the religions practice tolerance for other religious followings within the Seldarine, and for a few religions of a closely allied nature, the cult of Scarret the Forester being a prime example. Most of these religions also emphasize elven unity with life and nature and tend to blur the distinction between elves and their environment. Rilfane Ralathil, the Leaf Lord, is at once a giant ethereal oak tree and a green-skinned elf clad in bark armor. Deep Sashlacious has a sea green skin that mirrors his habitat. Airdrie Phainera is usually depicted as a deep blue in color, like the sky she rules. The weapons and tools and armor used by these deities are often regarded as merely extensions of the divinities, sometimes as true physical parts of them. The themes of nature and magical power also appear very frequently in tales of elven mythology and religion. I love elves. I'm sorry, I really do. I have since I read The Hobbit and then The Lord of the Rings when I was a kid. Yes, I know the elves of Mirkwood were very suspicious, but still. Anyway, to move on. Elven deities, when appearing in elven form, are usually between 4 and 8 feet tall, with a few exceptions at either end of the scale. Many of these deities are also capable of assuming much larger shape in non-elven natural forms. Rilfane's form as an oak tree, Seychelles' shape as a giant, towering, vaguely humanoid wave of seawater, Airdrie's appearance as a white cloud, and Corellon's rare incarnation as an azure moon or star are examples of this. Evil elven kind have nothing to do with the gods of the Seldarine. They frequently find the demon princes, archdevils, and other figures of the lower planes more to their liking. Evil elves tend to be more of chaotic in nature, so the lords of the abyss gain the majority of their worship. Loth, the demon queen of spiders and spiderkind, is an infamous example of a lesser divinity who takes much of her power from the worship of evil elven kind, particularly the drow. The smaller elf-like beings, like leprechauns, pixies, and so forth, have their own deities, usually of demigod level, that tend to their needs. Depending on the general alignment of the followers, these demigods may be found on several different planes, but all are generally allied with the Seldarine. Half-elves are allowed to worship any god in the Seldarine. They, as player characters, may also be allowed to become clerics or druids of these gods as applicable. A fair number of half-elves honor Hanali Sinali, the goddess of romance and beauty, and in honor of the love between their parents that brought them into the world, if such was the case. See you, Chris. The numerous other members of the Seldarine are gifted with varying degrees of control over the spheres of elven kind, nature, magic, dancing, play, love, beauty time, celestial phenomena, running water, weapon skills, craftsmanship, secrecy, comedy and joy, chaos, and mischief, among others. Few, if any, represent law, underground phenomena, violence without cause, warfare, and non-mammalian or non-avian life forms. One or two are concerned with death and dying, but they are peaceful, good-aligned deities and not the dark and evil types that pervade human pantheons. Elven pantheons will vary widely from place to place as different members of the Seldarine achieve local prominence or fade from memory. Following are descriptions of five of the more powerful and widely accepted deities of the Seldarine. Since there are so many different elven gods, it is very possible that these specific deities might not be found in any particular DM's universe, and other deities, the existence of which was mentioned before, would be present. I think Dungeon Minister heard my voice from like a great distance and decided he didn't want any part of this, so he dipped out. Airdrie Phainera. Phaina. Airdrie Phaina. Goddess of air and water, lesser goddess, 322 hit points. She's immune to missile weapons. Don't bring your guns to town. She is chaotic good, tends towards neutrality, but chaotic neutral or neutral good? Or just neutral? She is a 14th level druid, a 10th level fighter, and a 10th level bard. Airdrie appears to be a tall, elf-like woman with feathered hair and eyebrows From her back spring a pair of large bird-like wings. Her feathers are of constantly changing color. The lower half of her body from the hips down vanishes into a misty whirlwind, so she appears to never touch the ground. Airdrie wanders the winds of the plains of Olympus and Gladsheim in the company of a large number of winged creatures of many types. If aroused for battle, Airdrie is able to cast 2 great blasts of wind per round, causing 5 to 20 points of damage to each opponent within 96 inches of her. That's 960 feet underground, 960 yards above ground, or about half a mile above ground. She may also summon 2 to 12 air elementals of 16 hit dice each once per day, and may also summon 3 to 18 giant eagles or 1 to 2 rocks twice per day. These creatures will obey her unto death. This goddess is able to use all magic user spells involving air, weather, flight, electricity, and gas at the 25th level of ability as often as desired, 1 spell per round. She has the power to negate at will the flying or levitating abilities of any creature within 12 inches of her. Any elves of non-lawful and non-evil alignment may worship Airdrie. Elves who desire certain weather conditions make the most frequent sacrifices to her, and her cult is also popular with elves who possess flying mounts, griffins, hippogriffs, pegasi, and so forth. It has also been known to happen that an elven character who has somehow fallen from a great height, should he or she call out Airdrie's name aloud, has a small 2% chance of receiving a feather fall spell just prior to striking the ground. However, those who receive this gracious benefit, coming directly from Airdrie herself, will be both quested and gassed, no saving throw allowed, within the next 2 to 7 days to perform a service for the goddess, fully commensurate with the character's general level of ability. Such tasks vary widely in nature, though all of them are said to be comparatively challenging and difficult. Elves receiving this benefit of a feather fall and its consequences need not be worshippers of Airdrie, but should be of the same alignment. And we're probably going to wrap up with Araven. Araven Ilisir, God of Mischief and Change, 290 hit points, chaotic neutral, all chaotics and elven thieves. 8th level druid, 7th level ranger, 18th level illusionist, 20th level thief, 10th level bard. That's really just a really, really good and long-played AD&D character when you get right down to it. While his following is not as large as those of other elven deities, Araven still commands his share of attention from the elves, particularly those engaged in thieving. Araven is a fickle, utterly unpredictable deity who can change his appearance at will. He enjoys causing trouble for its own sake, but his pranks are rarely either helpful or deadly. His favorite tactic is to change his height to any size between 1 inch and 6 feet. Regardless of how he appears at any given time, Araven will always wear green somewhere upon his person. When he travels, Araven carries a +4 longsword that knocks open all barriers. +4 longsword. Doors and locks with but a touch. When he so desires, he may also summon up to 20 leprechauns, sprites, pixies, or other small, mischievous, elf-like beings, each with maximum hit points, to help out in a given situation. Araven will rarely fight another being directly, preferring to escape and possibly catch his opponent off guard at a later time. He can, however, cast the spells Chaos and Polymorph any object once per round at will. Prior to entering combat, he will make extensive use of these spells to his own advantage. Followers of Araven are usually quite unpredictable themselves and are very independent. Many of them are thieves or have thieving as one of their multiple classes. There have been known to be elven cleric thieves and fighter cleric thieves amongst his worshippers, a set of class combinations not normally possible to elven kind. These multi-class characters are always non-player characters. So, there we have just a smattering, because we've still got we've still got a few elven gods, and we got some halfling gods to look at. I think possibly some gnomes also. But we'll get to those when we get to those. It's Bogo Jorts in deity form. Oh, no, don't you even suggest that. I just, oh no, his volume was working. Damn it, he heard. Don't get your hopes up, Todd. Anyway, so that was kind of a rollicking and fun-loving look at some non-human deities there. And we're going to continue those on. Just remove that. We're going to continue those on tomorrow, and we're going to look at more of these deities and demigods here as listed in Unearthed Arcana. We have the elven god of longevity, the goddess of romantic love and beauty, all kinds of fun stuff, all sorts of sweet stuff left to come with the elves. And we're going to look at all that tomorrow. And then at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, we're going to play some first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That's going to pick up where it left off. And Wednesday night, of course, again, I will be riding shotgun. Kyle will be driving, because Wednesday night, we're going to play some Classic Traveler. This may be the ultimate episode of Classic Traveler for 2022. The Camoral Bogo deified. I don't think so. Hello, Kenneth. Good to see you there. I guess I'll see you over in the AD&D game here starting for a while. Sorry, had a moment. Yes, Kennick is in the private 11-person AD&D game that we run on Monday nights after the show is over. Speaking of things that are after the show is over, I would just like to take a moment, just a hot minute. Bring your oven mitts, okay? Watch it. Don't burn yourselves. Just for a hot minute. Because we had this sudden spate, this rain. They made it rain of super chats. And there are some folks who contribute every month, just like you can. You can support us on Patreon, Subscribestar, PayPal Direct, or buy us a coffee. The Crab's showing you where it's at. Ask him. He's holding it up right down there on the bottom. So you can support us on any of those platforms to help out with the show. Because guess what? There's some folks who have. The best thing you can do, let me tell you what, the best thing you can do to support the show on an individual show basis, if you don't super chat, is give us a subscription and click that bell icon for notifications. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and tell us what you liked about it. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down and tell us what you didn't like, and we'll fix it for you as best we can. But for the folks who put in every month, I take a little bit of time to say thank you. So with that said, let me thank. Where is it? Where's the list? Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien247, James F. Keck, William Smith, The Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer, Rob, Jeremy Rule, Bo Ganora, Mikey Mank, the one and only Sky Hernstrom, Pete Sullivan, the DM's Council, and Baron Von Headbanger. So thank you all very much for contributing to the ongoing success of the show. I had a fun night. It was a kicking rad. So I hope you guys did too. We'll be back tomorrow again, and we'll play some AD&D. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you then. I love every one of you. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you for watching the show, and thank you for making 2022 awesome. We've got a little bit left, but we'll see it out with a bang. Take care, guys. Peace.